I'm Daisy.
And I'm Terri.
And this is the Monday Mindset Podcast,
where we share things of interest to us and hopefully to you.
So let's get started with episode number 1, the very first one, where we're both just going to tell you a bit about us. Is that all right?
Sounds good. My name is Terri Lance, and I'm a 51-year-old woman who has done a few different career changes in my life. And I began as a middle school English teacher. After that, I went back to school and became a psychologist in private practice. And now I work as a fasting and behavioral coach with the fasting method. I live on the West Coast. I would say I live alone, but I actually live with 2 dogs. Because I know you and I are eventually going to talk about dogs at various times through this.
I'm Daisy Brackenhall, and I'm a 40-something, well, actually, nearly 50. I'm going to have to change 40-something to very nearly 50 Brit. But I actually live in rural southwest France, have done so now for about 16 years. I love it. It's a lovely part of the world, and I live here with my 3 dogs and 3 cats and a ginger Tom hanger-on who wants to be one of my animals, but I don't let him. But I do take pity on him every now and then, leave out a bowl of food. I'm a podcaster. My other podcast is the Keto Woman podcast, and I now do everything involved in the production for that. I love talking to all the women for the podcast and hearing their inspirational stories. I'm also a part-time gardener and occasional garden designer. I actually trained as a garden designer and did some work as a garden designer in the UK, but sadly there's not much call for it here, so I only get to do it occasionally. I've become a bit of a DIY expert over the years, doing a lot of the work on my house. I'm quite practically minded, so good at figuring out how to do stuff. So I'm a bit of a mixed bag. That's me.
Nice. We wanted to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about this podcast and why we came together to do this for you. So now you know who we are. You might be wondering, how are these 2 women from rural France and the west coast of the US connected? And why do they come together, and what are they going to share?
Well, we met. How long ago did we meet? It must be, 4, 5 years?
I believe it was fall of 2016. So about 3.5 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was the fall or autumn for me, because I remember, yes, it was September. I'd come off Facebook and I had to go back on Facebook just to join the 2 Keto Dudes Facebook group. And that's really where we met, wasn't it? Adminning in there.
Yes. And I joined the group probably sometime either late summer or early fall. I'm not even sure when the group began, but I had just started my keto journey that August. So that's why it makes sense to me that it was that fall that it kind of began, that we met. And we were both admins for the 2 Keto Dudes group. So we had lots of dialogue going on behind the scenes. So we got to know each other that way.
Oh, lots. And then we met at Keto Fest. Were you at the first Keto Fest? I wasn't at the first one.
No, the first one I came to was 2018. And then we also got to see each other at Low Carb Denver in 2019. And then again at Keto Fest in 2019. So 3 different times we've gotten to actually hang out in person at these conferences or festivals and get to enjoy that.
And I don't know about you, but it feels like we've known each other for a lot longer.
Which is why when you started, you're like, what has it been? 5, 6, 10 years?
Yeah. 20 years.
Remember when we were 7?
I don't know whether it's because of the connection with keto, with it being quite a big part of our lives. I don't know why it was, but it seems to have intensified that beginning of a relationship. We have our keto crew, don't we? And we we all get on really well, and it really does feel like we've known each other for a long time.
And then I think also for you and I, the fact that we both like animals, so we have lots of dog stories to share. I don't have cats anymore, but I have had cats, so can certainly appreciate the journey of having cats in the house. We both live alone other than our animals, so I think we relate on that level. We know what it's like to kind of navigate the stage of life solo.
That's actually kind of what gave me the idea in the first place for the podcast. Some of the listeners will know already who listen to the Keto Woman podcast that I've had problems, big problems with depression over the last year. And you've been one of the people who've helped me the most and really given me some great tips and ideas about how to try and alleviate it, how to just muddle through and try and be a bit happier, I guess. It's really helped me a lot. And I started thinking, we have a good rapport. We like chatting to each other. You've helped me a lot with these things that you've shared with me. Wouldn't it be great to share it with other people too? Because there must be plenty of people out there who could get great benefit from all these tips and ideas that you've shared with me. I like reading and listening to podcasts and the articles and things, some of the things that I find inspiring and have shared with you. So we have this dialogue going on between us all the time, don't we? So the idea behind it really was to just start basically recording that and sharing it with everyone out there, sort of listening into our chats, really.
Correct. And the other part of that, I think that might be helpful for everyone to know then, is that's really kind of the format of what we're going to follow with this podcast. Each episode will be one of us coming in with something we found interesting and wanted to share with the other one. And so the conversation really will be focused around that topic for that episode. And then the following episode, the other one of us will bring something that we want to share. So we'll just go back and forth between the two of us, sharing things that we find interesting, helpful, motivating, things that kind of help us get through with, where things are in our lives, where things are in the world on a positive note, and help make everything more manageable.
And our hope is that this will be a nice bite-sized little podcast. It's going to be more of a shorter format, and we're hoping that it will set you off on the right foot at the beginning of the week. The idea is that it's going to come out on a Monday morning, and hopefully you'll find it helpful to start your week.
And the fact that there'll be short episodes will be a true testament to Daisy's editing skills, because when Daisy and I get on these things, we tend to talk a lot and for a long time. And so to make these episodes bite-sized, something that you can take in maybe in a short commute to work or something, again, will be quite a feat of editing. So I already am giving kudos to Daisy for that.
Well, that's the trouble, isn't it? Because I won't want to leave anything out. So we're going to have to get good at keeping it reasonably non-rambly.
I'll set a timer for us, the egg timer, and stop us. I got good at that as a psychologist. Well, it looks like our time is up for today. So let's stop here. So I'll try and monitor that for us, Daisy.
Perfect. Yeah, you'll have that subtle looking at your watch.
That's right.
And although we met through keto, basically, and keto is a big part of both our lives, that's not what this podcast is about. It's all about mindset, which might come into play with helping you stick to keto and helping along those lines, but it's completely separate from that. The hope is that some of the things that you can use just really to help with your general well-being and happiness.
And then also apply that, we may have listeners who are not keto, have no intention of following a ketogenic way of eating. And really our aim is that what we talk about applies for anyone who is open to hearing it. And again, that's something they may find useful, regardless of how they eat or how they approach that part of their life.
Absolutely. We really hope you're going to enjoy this podcast, and you can find us at mondaymindsetpodcast.com. We hope you'll subscribe wherever you like listening to your podcasts, and we look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks.
We'll also be sure to share the sources of the information that we are talking about in each episode in the show notes, in case you want to listen to the podcast, read the book, follow the YouTube channel, or whatever we have referred to. You'll have those links. We also just want to encourage you to keep an open mind and take in anything that's of benefit to you by listening to these episodes, and join us whenever you can.